ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। साक्षात् कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भगवद्वेषिणी। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। श्लोक नंबर 45. You can repeat. त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदाः
त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदाः
निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन
निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन
निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थः
निर्द्वन्द्वो
नित्यसत्त्वस्थः
निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्
निर्योगक्षेम
यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते फलेषु कदाचन
पापेषु कदाचन
कर्म फल हेतुर्भूः
कर्म
आते संगोस्त्व कर्मणि
माते संगोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
246th shloka we have seen. Now 47th shloka, very important shloka, and as we know from the 39th shloka onwards, the topic of karma yoga started, and in between Bhagavan Krishna he criticized by mentioning the people who are committed to gaining the limited results offered by doing the karma, whether it is Vaidika or Laukika. So, asking Arjuna to be nirdvandvaha, atmavan, nityasattvastaha, traigunya vishayaha vedaha, therefore nistraigunyo bhava Arjuna. So, Bhagavan Krishna teaches Arjuna, having taught Jnanam, having given Jnanam, now he teaches Karma Yoga. What is the need for Karma Yoga? What is Karma? All these things to be understood very clearly. First, let us understand what is this Karma. What does it mean? The word Karma means action. Kriya, from the Kru Dhatu. From the Kru Dhatu, Dhatu is a verbal root. In Sanskritam, there are verbal roots, 2000, approximately 2000 or a little more. The verbal roots are there. These are the backbone of the language, from which the verbal roots only all the words are derived. These are called Dhatu. Karma is also from the Dhatu, Kru Dhatu. Dukring Karane. Karane in the sense of doing, the word Karma. The Dhatu is in the use in the sense of doing. From the Dhatu, the word Karma is derived, meaning action, the Kriya. That is Karma. This Karma, in the discussion, in our discussion, the Karma, we can classify the Karma into two types. One is Vaidika Karma, other one is Laukika Karma. Karma meaning action. It can be Vaidika or Laukika. Vaidika Karma is the karma related to or the karma prescribed by the Veda. The karma related to achieving the limited results by observing the karma which are ordained by the Veda. That is the Veda related karma, that is Yaga Omadi Karma, Yajnadi Karma, these are Vaidika Karma. And that also a lot of types are there. Nitya Karma, Naimitika Karma, Nishiddha Karma, Prayaschitta Karma. All those karmas are there. Or Kamya Karma, the karma which you do prompted by the desire to achieve, to gain something. Whatever may be you desire, whether it is Dhanam or Putram or Dhanyam, karmas are there. All these karmas are Vaidika Karma, which are followed by the Vaidika. Vaidika is the people who are committed to following the Veda, the injunctions of the Veda. At least they must do Nitya Naimitika Karma, there is no exemption. Nitya Naimitika Karma means Brahmacharis should do Sandhya Vandanadi Karma, Nitya Karma. Sandhya Vandanam is Sandhya Vandanadi means Sandhya Vandanam, Samita Dharam, these are the Nitya Karma. And for Grihastha, in addition to that, in addition to only Sandhya Vandanam, not Samita Dharam, in addition to Sandhya Vandana, he is supposed to do Agnihotradi Karma. These are Nitya Karma, to be done Karma. Naimitika Karma means the karma which are done occasionally, like Shraddham, etc. These are the Naimitika Karma. Nishiddha Karma is the karma which should not be done. It should not be taken up because it produces papam. It produces undesired, invisible, undesired, unfavorable result. Therefore, Nishiddha should be prohibited. Pratisheda karma. Shastram says, Suramna pibet, don't drink alcohol. Nishiddha. Kalanjam na bakshayet, don't eat flesh, don't eat flesh. Mamsam. Kalanjam is mamsam. All are Nishiddha. Prayaschitta karma, that is for the karma, for the mistake already done. Atonement action, the karma to reduce the effect of some bad karma done previously. Prayaschitta karma. All these are the karma, different types of karma. Vaidika karma. Now, Lokika karma, if you take, everything else comes under Lokika. Lokika karma is the karma which you do in the Loka. To sustain in the Loka, for Jivanam in the Loka, to continue this life in this Loka, you do a variety of karma. To continue means to continue to, you continue the life by entertaining a lot of desires, want to have a family and children, earn money. All these are buying land and real estates, all the properties. So all these are Lokika karma. Any karma other than Vedika is Lokika karma. This is karma. Two types of karma, Lokika, Vedika. Now this shloka generally talks about karma. When we read Bhashyam, that time we talk about karma, Vedika karma specifically. That is different. But taking this shloka, meaning the word, taking the word, meaning of the word karma, it can mean Vedika or Lokika, any karma. Karma is karma. Now this karma produces karma palam, produces result. Whether it is Vedika or Lokika, karma produces karma palam. The result is definitely there for a karma. Because you have exerted yourself in doing an action, therefore the result will be there. There is no karma in the world which cannot produce result. For every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. Therefore, karma definitely will have karma pala. And this karma, how does it done? It is done through a number of factors. Karma is done. How it is done? A number of factors are involved in doing the karma. Then only the karma is complete and karma can produce karma pala. Yeah, the number of factors are involved in doing an action, the karma. Those factors are technically called karakam. Those factors are technically called karakam. Even in the Vyakaranam, the grammar class, we have seen the word karakam. And also another important thing, the word karma in the grammar means object. In the grammar, in the Vyakaranam, karma means object. And here karma means action. So we are not talking about grammatical karma. We are talking about the karma in general, meaning action. And this karma is done through the factors called karakani. What are the factors? The karakani. Karta is involved. Without karta, there is no karma. Without karta, without the doer, there is no karma possible. The doer is there. The one who does the karma, doer, is called karta. And there must be, or may not be, there may be or may not be an object, the object of action on which the karma is done. Karma must be there, that is object. Here it is grammatical karma. So under the factors of action, karta karma, when we say, the karma is grammatical karma. Karma meaning object. Subject must be there, object must be there. Then the means of doing, how the karma is done, the means of doing, karana must be there. The means of accomplishing the karma, some means, the instrument. Then for whom the karma is done, or the result goes to whom? Sampradana karma. That's called Sampradana Karaka. Then from where the karma is done? Apadana. Apadana Karaka. Another factor. Apadana. From where the karma is done and where the karma is done, the locus of karma, that is Adhikarana. Therefore, Karakani Shat. Karta, Karma, Karana, Sampradana, Apadana, Adhikarana. Iti, 6 factors are involved in doing a karma. That is why Kriyanvayi Karakam we say. Kriyam Karoti iti Karakam. The action done by these factors. The action done by those. They are called Karakani. That is the factors involved in doing an action. Not that all the factors should be involved in doing all the karma. Either one or more or all the factors are maybe involved in doing an karma action. Now, the karma pala depends on the condition of these factors, because these factors are involved in doing, in gaining the result. Therefore, the result is conditioned by the conditions of these factors. So the condition, the status of these factors of action play a very important role in deciding the result of action, karma pala. So karma, karaka, karma pala. This is the connection. Therefore, the result of any action, any karma, is not determinable. We cannot determine the result of karma because factors are involved. Not that all the factors are under your control. You don't manage all the factors. Why? Because the result of an action depends on 2 factors. In general, 2 factors. One is the known factor. 2 factor or 2 causes. We can use 2 causes because factor already the word I use for karaka. We can say causes. Depends on 2 causes. One is the known causes. Other one is unknown causes. The result depends on known causes, number 1, and number 2, unknown causes. Even with known causes, known factors like karaka, etc., it is not possible to determine the outcome of a karma. It is not possible to determine the outcome of an action. Not possible. Even with the factors being known, the causes being known. Because they are not under your control. All the factors of action not under your control. Karta, karma, karana. So many factors are there. Not that you manage all the factors. Not possible. Even with known factors, when it is not possible to determine the outcome of an action, then what to talk about the unknown causes involved in giving the result? Because the causes are unknown. Unknown in terms of its nature or the quantity, number of causes we don't know. So many hidden variables, causes or factors are involved. Therefore, it's next to impossibility to determine the result of an action. So, the result of action is not possible to be determined by the doer, by the one who does the karma, the action. Not possible because so many causes are involved, known as well as unknown causes. And also the causes, the causes known, with the known causes, even if the known causes are taken care, but the unknown causes which are not known, which are innumerable. Many causes are there. We don't know. So many factors are involved. so that it is not under the scope of the doer. So therefore, it is not possible to determine the outcome. Given this, you do an action. Now the result of that action, can be of the four types, can be of any of the four types. Number one, the result could maybe to your expectation, equal to your expectation. The result may be equal to your expectation, or the result may be less than your expectation, or the result may be more than your expectation, or sometimes the result may be quite opposite to your expectation. So all the four, among the four, any result is possible for a given action. If you gain the result equivalent to your expectation, then there is no problem. If it is less than expectation, or if it is quite opposite to your expectation, then you understand, I don't call all the shots. You say, I don't call all the shots. It is not under my control. So therefore only, with the given known factors and unknown factors, any result, any of the four types of result is possible for a given action. Therefore, to say that I decide the output of my action, I decide, I am the deciding person. I am the deciding person. I decide the output of action. To say that is the height of stupidity. Because as Swamiji says, there are many slips between the cup and the lip. Even to take the coffee to your mouth, there could be many slips, not sure. Even moving your hand is not simply accomplished because you wish. You cannot simply move your hand. Various internal parts and integral function of the parts, subparts, and the blood flow, all these are involved. Up to the cells, all are involved, even in a small, simple movement. The breath is not in your hands. The next breath is not. You take the breath, now the breath gone inside, the air gone inside. Whether it will come out or not, who knows? Can you control it? Can you say for sure that the next breath will come out? We don't know. When you cannot have any say over your body, what to talk about the invisible, unknown factors which are involved in gaining the result of action. Therefore, it is next to impossibility. A person may decide to go to the office in the morning, but he may end up finding himself in a hospital. Even with Corona, now the current situation, how many of us have heard people saying that I don't know how I got Corona, even though I was very careful. You are thinking that you are intelligent and careful, but Corona is super intelligent and more alert than you. Somehow it finds some loophole to find you, which is not possible to identify. That is not possible for you. It is out of the scope of your intelligence. Therefore, we say, or we attribute the cause. We attribute the cause which gives the result of action to Bhagavan. We attribute the cause to Bhagavan. Nothing is in our hands. Everything is in the hands of Bhagavan only. We say that is also not true. That is also not true. Nothing is in our hands. Everything is in the hands and the hands of the Lord. Saying that also one cannot escape. That is what this shloka says. Putting everything, all the blame on the Bhagavan, that is also not correct. This shloka says, that's what the shloka says. What does it say? This shloka says, you have, and at the same time, you don't have. Both, it says. You have, at the same time, you don't have. Now, what you have and what you don't have, that you have to know. What you have and what you don't have. What you have is the privilege, the free will, the choice to do an action. That is what you have. You have the choice. You have the choice to do an action. You have it. Nobody can have say over that because it is your choice. It is your free will to do an action. Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyatha va kartum shakyam. You can do, you need not do, or you can do it in any other way. You can go to the office by car, or you can take leave and not go to the office, or you can choose to go to the office by walk. Attending the class is your choice. Not attending the class also is your choice. Attending and listening to the class is your choice. Not attending and listening to the class either now or later. Now you attend the class but don't listen. But attending the class and listening to the class later through recording, that is also your choice. Not attending and listening to the class also is your choice. Or attending and not listening also is your choice. Everything is your choice. You have got free will. That is what you have. Therefore, you have. What you have? You have free will. You have free will to do an action with the factors around the limiting factors. You have got the free will. The free will also is not completely free. With the limitation, you have got the free will to do an action. But what you don't have at your disposal is the result of your action. You cannot command the result of action. You cannot command. Not expecting the result of action and inability to command the result of action, these two things are different. Not expecting the result of action is different, and inability to command the result of action is different. These two things should not be confused. Why I say this, I'll tell you later. Not expecting the result may be your choice. It can be your choice. You can choose not to expect the result. That is your choice. But inability to command the result is not your choice. You cannot decide the outcome because it involves many factors, both known and unknown. Even to deal with the known factors are difficult in accomplishing an action. What to talk of unknown factors? So, therefore, you have no privilege, no choice over the result of action. You have privilege only in doing, not in the result. The meaning of shloka, this shloka is you have choice over doing action. You have choice over in doing an action, but not over the result. That is the meaning of this shloka. We will see the shloka in detail. Before getting into shloka, we should know the background. The last class I told this shloka is the most misinterpreted shloka. What is that? This shloka, which is often misinterpreted, how it is misinterpreted should be understood. This shloka, in its misinterpretation, you will find like this: do your duty and do not expect the result. This is how you find a translation of this shloka, and this is what people also say, quote, Bhagavad Gita says, do your duty and don't expect the result. As I said, not expecting the result may be your choice. It can be your choice, no problem. But there is nobody in the world who does karma, action, and not expecting the result. There is nobody. You go by the car and not expecting to reach the destination. Is it possible? Can anyone do like that? Or can I teach without expecting you to understand what I teach? I teach expecting that you understand. You attend expecting that you will learn. Not expecting to understand on my part or not expecting to learn on your part. Is it possible? It is not. Can any intelligent do any action like this? No. Therefore, expectation is there, will be there. Therefore, to say not to expect the result is stupidity, sheer stupidity. It is not correct. So do your duty, do not expect the result is not the explanation, is not the interpretation of this shloka. Then what is the right way to interpret this shloka? You don't have choice over the result. You have choice only over the action, not over the result. Therefore, do your best and the result will take care of itself. Therefore, do your karma because over that only you have privilege, you have got free will, the choice, not over the result. To say do karma not expecting the result, that is not the meaning of this shloka. Because prayojanam anuddishya na mandopi pravartate. Even a fool, mandaha, even a fool will not engage in any activity without expecting any benefit. Working 10 hours in the office for 30 days a month and not expecting salary to credit to your account. Can anyone do? Even if you are karma yogi, you will have expectation. And there is nothing wrong in expecting. No need to feel guilty in expecting. One need not feel guilty. Nothing wrong in expectation. The expectation should not make one feel guilty because Gita says it. Gita doesn't say that. It is because it's misinterpreted. Therefore, you think that Gita says like that. Gita doesn't say. It is completely wrong. And some translators have translated without knowing, without understanding the truth, without knowing the language. And therefore, everyone starts quoting this shloka saying that no expectation. So it is our duty to bring up the child and not to expect. No parent bring up the child like that. Every parent expects the child to have all-around growth and live a prosperous, healthy, long, spiritual, a noble life. Therefore, there is nothing in expectation. Now, what does it say then? Expectation. The expectation also we need to understand. If the expectation bothers you while doing action, if the expectation bothers you when you do the karma, then that expectation may cause tension, the expectation may cause anxiety, that expectation may cause some inconvenience, discomfort in you, and therefore you may not be able to do your action properly. Like the students writing public exam, even though they prepare well for the exam, but because of the fear of not getting admission in medicine or engineering or IIT or IIM, they fail to perform properly because there is always the fear of not getting admission into higher education. That fear is there. The expectation is that, but the fear is there. And that can happen to anyone in any field, particularly when you learn driving cycle for the first time, it happens. You don't want to hit the man walking on the road. That is your expectation. Your expectation is not wanting to hit the man. It's a negative expectation. Not that you want to ride properly. You don't want to hit the man. You ride the cycle with the fear of hitting the walking man or woman, and you exactly hit that person, and you get hit by them in return. So this is the result of the pressure, the inner pressure caused by expectation. If the expectation causes pressure, then it is not good. Many a time in life we fail to accomplish what we want because of the fear of failure. We expect anxiously not to have our expectation failing, and we fail. Because what is strong in your mind, what strong thoughts in your mind, that alone manifests outside. Therefore, you invite that failure to happen because of your negative sankalpa. That is called raga and dvesha in the language of Gita. Raga, dvesha. Raga is Raga is the pressure of expectation of desired results. That is raga. Dvesha is the pressure caused by the expectation of avoiding undesired result. You don't want. That is dvesha. Raga dvesha. Bombarded by raga dvesha, when you do karma, then you will not get the desired karma palam. So, expectation can be there. Expectation it will be there, not can be, it will be there. But if the expectation is, if the person is free from raga dvesha created by this pressure of expectation, then only he can do an action properly. Therefore, if you learn to do the action without bothered by raga dvesha, then you are a karma yogi. Otherwise, you are just a karmi. Otherwise, you are just a karmi. So, therefore, wanting to be a karmi or wanting to be a karma yogi, that is your choice. A karmi is interested only in the fleeting, the transient pleasures of the world. A karmi is interested only in that. He is interested in bhoga. He is interested in artha and kama. In the language of Kathopanishad, it is called prayas, prayorti. Whereas a karma yogi is interested in moksha, freedom. Therefore, you will perform the action and accept the result. You will perform the action without raga dvesha and accept the result, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be, accept the result as the prasada from the Lord, from Bhagavan. That is the attitude of a karma yogi. Therefore, a karma yogi enjoys relative freedom and relative peace while doing action, because action is worship, work is worship for him. Therefore, he does action enjoying relative peace, relative freedom, and also in enjoying the result of action. Because the goal is moksha. With the goal, the freedom in mind, he performs karma. Then the very doing becomes a worship of the Lord. That is what karma yoga is. That is the attitude of a karma yogi. A karma yogi doesn't do karma expecting the limited results offered by karma. He is not interested in the limited results. He does karma with expectations to switch over to jnanam. To switch over to jnanam by preparing oneself, by gaining the jnana yogyata prapti. For jnanam to happen, that yogyata is required, that qualification is required, that adhikaritam is required. So that is its expectation. And even Bhashikara in some places, even that should not be a cause for concern for karma yogi. Therefore, doing a karma with the proper attitude is karma yoga, and that becomes a sadhanam for jnana yoga. Jnana yoga is possible only through karma yoga. So there's a connection. Karma yoga for gaining jnana yogyata prapti. Then jnana, then knowledge. Knowledge involves guru upasadanam, shastra patanam. That is jnana yoga. So therefore, only when the mind is sufficiently prepared. That is why we talk about sadhana chatushtaya sampatti again and again. We talk about chitta pragya lakshana. Later we will see in this chapter itself the sadhanam, the chitta pragya lakshanam, the characteristics of a jnani becomes a sadhanam for a sadhaka. We talk about that. So only when you enjoy, only when the mind is prepared by karma yoga, then only you enjoy the relative freedom and peace and security. Only when the mind is relatively free, relatively secure, only when the mind is relatively matured and outgrown for the desire of the objects of the world as well as the other world, then only jnanam can take place. Then only jnanam can take place, or the conducive situation for jnanam takes place in the mind. So, therefore, only karma yoga. And that is a topic of the discussion now. So this is a simple, small introduction to karma yoga. So with this background, you approach the shloka, then you will understand. Then you will not do the mistake of misunderstanding. This shloka. Karmani eva adhikaraha te ma paleshu kadachana. This line is what is often misinterpreted. Te referring to tava, that is you. Te tava. Te tava karmani. Karmani is action. Saptami vibhakti. Karmani. Te karmani eva adhikaraha. Adhikaraha means best translation is choice. You have choice. You have got choice in doing an action. Ma paleshu kadachana, never over the results. Na kadachana, never. Never over the results of action. Therefore, you have choice in doing an action, doing a kriya, but not over the result. This is the statement of fact. Why not over the results? Because Bhagavan takes care of that. Invisible factors are involved that Bhagavan only knows. That Bhagavan, and also the karma itself will not give you karma phalam, because karma is also jadam only. Karma is also jadam. Karakas are there. All the karakas are jadam. Therefore the karta who is Chaitanyam, he does, and the result is not that this the karma that decides. No, karma being jadam, it cannot decide. There must be an intelligent being behind behind that intelligent being, the intelligent conscious being, what we call Bhagavan, Ishvara. He gives the karma phala. Why? Because karma phala for the given karma comes at the appropriate time, appropriate place. He knows when to give what. It is a big network. What karma we did, how do we know? We don't know. We have done so many karma. So many karma we have done in this janma and the previous janma, and so many previous janma we have done. What karma we did, we don't know. But Bhagavan everything knows. He has got your account. He has got your account. That's account is there. Account of your karma. So therefore he knows what to give, when to give as a result of your karma. That's why even in Ramana Maharishi he says, Karturagya prapyate param. Karma kim param, karma tajjadam. Karma is jadam. Karma is jadam. So therefore there is Ishvara. Bhagavan is there. He is a factor, main factor. He decides the result. Because the results are not known, therefore we attribute the result to Bhagavan. Bhagavan decides. In fact, it is your past karma and your current karma only decide. But the factors are not known, but it is known to Bhagavan. Therefore, he gives. It is not that Bhagavan also gives by his whims and fancies. No. Ishvara doesn't give the result by his whims and fancies. You get what you deserve. And the Bhagavan is only a giver, a data. Therefore, karma phala data. Therefore, Bhagavan is karma phala data. Therefore, you don't become the karma phala hetuhu. Ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. Ma karma phala hetu. Hetu, the cause. The cause for the result of action. Ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. You don't become the karma phala hetu, the cause for the results of action. You don't be the author for the results of your action. You cannot be also, because Bhagavan decides. So you don't be the karma phala hetuhu. Karma phala hetuhu. Karma phala, that is the result of karma. Hetuhu is karanam. Ma bhava. Ma bhuhu, ma bhava. You don't be the hetu, the karanam. You cannot be. You are not the karanam for the karma phala. That's what it means. Ma karma phala hetu. You don't be means you cannot be. You can't be the hetu for karma phala. Karma you do, but karma pala depends on many factors. Therefore, you don't call the result of your action. That is what it means. Therefore, because you don't call for the result of the action the result as you want, therefore you don't stop doing karma. You have to keep doing karma because karma is a sadhanam for a karma yogi. You being a karma yogi, you keep doing karma because it is a sadhanam for the moksha sadhya, and you do karma. How? Sangaha astu akarmani. Mate sangaha astu akarmani. Akarmani is inaction, not doing. Therefore, you don't be committed to not doing karma because you don't call the result of your karma. Therefore, you don't commit yourself in not doing. You have to do. Even if you don't want to do, your swabhava will make you do. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krita. In Bhagavad Gita itself, Bhagavan Krishna says, nobody can remain without doing karma even for a moment. The nature of the person will propel the person to do karma. Therefore, don't commit yourself to akarma, not doing. You do karma. That is the meaning of this shloka. Now, another important point, because the topic is karma yoga, so one may get doubt, or one who have read already have got some knowledge about the Gita may doubt. This karma yoga becomes a sadhanam for moksha. Karma yoga is the sadhanam for moksha. Yes, it is true, but not directly. It is not sakshat sadhanam. It is not the direct means. It is not the direct means for moksha. Why? Chittasya shuddhaye karma, natu vastu palabdaye. Karma is only for chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi is the purification of the mind. What is the purification of mind? That is, the mind has to be relatively free. It should be free from raga dvesha, free from the pressure caused by the desire or hatred for the objects and things or people. That is called chitta shuddhi. So for that, you have to do karma. For gaining chitta shuddhi, you have to do karma. Therefore, chittasya shuddhaye karma. Natu vastu upalabdhaye. Not for gaining, not for knowing the vastu. What is the vastu? Brahma. Not for knowing Atma. So karma is only for gaining chitta shuddhi. Therefore, only chitta shuddhi is preparing the mind, the tool. Mind is also a tool. It's antakaranam. The karanam has to be prepared to receive the knowledge. To receive the knowledge, your tool has to be proper. Therefore, first you make the tool proper. That is the karma yoga. Making the tool proper will not give you freedom, will not give you the sadhya moksha. For that, jnanam. That is why Veda, that's why pramanam Veda iti. Jnanam, that is moksha is possible only through jnanam. The freedom is only through jnanam, knowledge. And for jnanam, one has to study the shastram, not independently. You have to go to the guru and ask for this jnanam, receive jnanam. So, guru is required, shastram is required. Veda is required. That's why Veda pramanam we say. Pramanam, shastram is a pramanam, Veda pramanam. Without Veda pramanam, just doing karma, you will gain moksha is not possible. Mere karma or doing karma as a yoga will not give you moksha. Na karmana na prajaya dhane na tyage naike amrtatva manashuhu. Upanishad says, Mahanarada Upanishad, not by karma, not by praja means prajani, not by dhana, the wealth, only by tyaga. Tyaga is giving up. Sarva karma sannyasa, au jnanena, jnana karma sannyasa, only by tyaga, the giving up, the renunciation. The renunciation is not merely giving up. To jnanena, by knowledge, the karma drops from you. So tyagena eva Amritatvam Anashuhu. People have attained that Amritatvam, the moksha, by Tyaga, Jnana Karma, Sannyasa. So, not by just by mere karma. Karma has got limitation. Karma is doing. Doing is limited. How can the limited give you the unlimited? That is moksha. Moksha is unlimited. Unlimited means it is not confined. It is not confined by anything. By desha, kala, vastu, by place or time or anything cannot confine moksha, because it is your swarupa, your nature. Your nature, your swarupa is Atma, Brahma. That is Purnaha, that is complete. That doesn't require anything for its completeness. It's already complete. When it is already complete, then I don't know. That is by Jnanam. And for Jnanam, what is the role of karma? There is no role of karma for gaining Jnanam and Moksha. Karma plays a role indirectly by making yourself a Yogya Purusha, a Yogya Sadhaka for the receipt, for receiving this Jnanam. Therefore, we should understand what karma is. What is the role of karma? Karma as yoga, karma yoga. Karmana sadhyamanasya nityatvam shruyate yataha. Karmana nena kim nitya palepsoho paramartinaha utpadyam apyam samskaryam vikaryam pariganyate chaturvidam karmasadhyam palam nanyaditaha param. In the Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangraha, Shankara Bhagavad says, Karmana sadhyamanasya nityatvam shruyate yataha. Karmana anena kim nityam pala ipsoho paramartinaha. Karma as a means for gaining the nitya. It is said, but not the direct means. Karma as a sadhanam for gaining the sadhya moksha, it is not direct, it is indirect. Because karma being anitya, karma being limited, therefore it is anitya, it is not permanent. Therefore, it will give you anitya palameva. But your goal is paramar, your goal is parama purushartha moksha. Therefore, for that, the sadhyam is jnanam. For that sadhyam, this karma is a means. And also, karma can be of 4 types. Utpadyam, apyam, samskaryam, vikaryam. So, these are the 4 types of karma. Karma can produce utpadyam. By karma you can gain or reach, that is apyam. By karma, purification, one can purify. Purification, that is also a karma. Vikaryam, modification. These are the 4 possibilities which a karma can do. And all these are limited. Therefore, being limited, therefore, it will give only limited result. How will you gain that nitya palam, that is jnana palam by karma? It is not possible. Therefore, we have to understand very clearly, karma also is a sadhanam. The sadhanam, indirect sadhanam, not direct sadhanam. It is sakshat karanam for moksha. Whether it is any karma, Laukika karma or Vedika karma. Vedika karma becomes a sadhanam, and Laukika karma also becomes a sadhanam. Even if you are not a Vedika, if you are a Laukika doing karma in the world, the same karma becomes a means, indirect means for jnana prapti. By gaining that relative, the peace, the contentment, making you a matured person, by making you outgrow from all the desires, the pressure cost, the desires, you outgrow and become a person of maturity, of understanding to receive jnana. Therefore, Laukika karma, that's why look upon the karma, the duty, whatever duty you have, look upon that as worship, because it is a means. Karma is not done for karma's sake. It is done with the goal in mind, and the goal is moksha. It is Ishvara Aradhana. That is why karma also is looked upon as Aradhana. Aradhana of Ishvara. That is why we say Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. The karma to be done with the buddhi, with the understanding that it is an offering, it is a worship to the Lord. When it is a worship to the Lord, then whatever comes back from the Lord as prasada, what comes back from the Lord is called prasada, that you accept gracefully. It's a gracious Bhagavan gives you gracefully, and that you accept with grace. So all through it is grace only. You accept without complaining what comes from Bhagavan and accept that as his grace. And that's why it's called prasada. That is why it's called, you have got prasada buddhi, and because you receive that as a prasada, that's called prasada buddhi. Accepting the result is prasada buddhi. Therefore, any karma, whether Vaidika karma or Laukika karma, when your attitude towards the karma changes, then it becomes a karma yoga, and that becomes the means, indirect means for jnana prapti, moksha prapti. Therefore, do your karma, that is only within your privilege, not the result. Therefore, you are not the karanam, the hetu for the result. Understanding this, do your karma and don't commit yourself to not doing. You have to keep on doing, because that is a means. That is a means for moksha. Taking it as a means, as a yoga, you do it. That is what here Bhagavan Krishna says. He tells Arjuna. So this is the simple meaning of this shloka, karmanyevadikaraste. We will see more on this in the next class. Yam brahma varunendra rudra marutaha stanvanti divyaistavaihi vedai sanga padakramopanishadaihi dhyayanti yam samagaha dhyanavastita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yoginaha yasyantam na vidusura suraganaha devaya tasmai namaha. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanta Shanta Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद
धन्यवादः
धन्यवादः शांति
धन्यवादः